Good morning, or afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Angela. I teach earth magic and manifestation through natural law, through sorry about that, just making sure I'm live in the right place. Live in the right place. So, natural spirituality, grounded boots on the ground spirituality. We do here, not this bypassing stuff. I use hypnosis and meditation to reprogram the subconscious mind. Natural and cosmic law, brain science. And I dive deeply into occult symbolism and these occult teachings. So the basis for magic and why it works, right? I teach those things. I do coaching as well, life coaching. So I use these tools to help people transform their lives. I used these tools to help me transform my life. 5 years ago, it was in May, it was 5 years since I got clean and sober from heroin and Xanax Klonopin use. So in 2002, I was doing hair full time as a hairstylist, and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and I just went on a downward spiral from there, getting addicted to the medications that they gave me. And then throughout the next decade, more than decade actually, I couldn't figure out how to heal myself. It took me a really long time, so I kind of went on a downward spiral. At one point I completely lost myself, so it was almost a decade that I was in and out of opiate addiction. And of course, lack mindset, fear mindset, codependency, all those fun things that hold us back from the truth of who we are. And in 2017, I got arrested, and it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. And then in hindsight, I look back and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And so that's my story. It took me till 2019 to finally decide for myself that I was making big changes and go away permanently and stay away permanently, or for long enough. I went away for a year, and I was able to then, after that, I was able to then sort of balance things out, right? So now I'm at the point where I say that I'm sober because I am free from those kinds of addictions to substances, except for nicotine. I'm working on that one, and caffeine probably. But I'm now at a point where I can kind of live normally. I can kind of have a glass of wine out at dinner once a month, and it not be a getting drunk thing. And I can kind of not worry about whether or not I want to take, THC gummies to sleep at night, because I've found this balance, right, where I don't rely on anything outside of myself to make myself feel better, right? And I think that the key to this is the spiritual connection. I think that the key to life and to solving all of our problems is a spiritual connection. And so I do a live every week in this group, and I have been for almost 2 years now. And so right now we are doing a little series. I've done other series in the past. They're in the guides in this group. So if you just go to the top of this group and you click on the guide section, it will open up, and there will be blogs that I wrote on living in the seasons and with the phases of the moon. There will be a series called Waking the Witch, where it talks about all of the things that go along with us stepping into our magic. So there's one on will in there, there's awakening in there, there's a bunch of those lives in there as well. I work with ancestors in my magic and the elements, and so you'll see guides in there for that. Centering, grounding, basic natural magic practices. You'll find them all in the guide section. There's tons of stuff in there for you guys to go through if you want to. There's also a section where I started doing concepts on manifestation and how that works as well. And so there's a few of those in there as well. I have to admit that I tend to start things sometimes when they feel exciting and because I feel like I need to do something, and then I'll get started on something and I'll realize it's not really aligned and I stop doing it. So that's what happened with the manifestation parts, but I do plan on finishing that eventually. It just wasn't aligned at the time. I just needed to step out and do something different. So there are some videos in there on manifestation as well. The truth of the matter is, though, is that manifestation and magic are the same thing, right? And I see it as the same thing. Natural spirituality, the occult, natural law, what we do to program our subconscious mind, manifestation principles, the quantum field. All of these things are actually talking about the same thing. And I know that's difficult because we get caught up in words and definitions. And that's another thing I'm getting into recently is the etymology of words, right? So the root of the words that we use and what they really mean. You'd be amazed at how many words that we use on a regular basis and we don't even know what they actually mean. So it's actually pretty cool because we know that we speak our reality into existence, right? And that words are spells. And so I'm going to do a live on that soon as well. So people ask me questions and I come up with lives. I do lives to teach around the questions that people ask. I just got asked a question about the difference between reading tarot and reading oracle cards. And the truth is that, yes, they are the same and they can be used in the same way, but no, they are very different. And so I'm going to do a live on that as well soon. This series that we're in right now is on the 7 Hermetic Principles, which are the foundation of natural law, of the laws that govern the universe that we live in. And last week, it's pinned to the very top of this group, I did one that explained the principles, where they came from, and I went through them all and briefly explained them. So you might want to start there on that one if this is your first video on the Hermetic Principles. So today we're going to talk about the first principle. There's 7 of them. And I'm going to tell you about a hidden principle, which I call number 8, the hidden principle. So there will be, today, there will be, this is 1, there'll be 8 of these plus the introduction video. Please say hi if you're stopping by so that I can reach out and connect with you. I love the opportunity to reach out and connect with you all. I'm not the type of person who's just going to DM you without asking you, and it's the most important thing to me that I get an opportunity to connect with on a one-on-one level with as many of you as possible. I really am looking for ways in which to turn this into more of a community setting. I love the idea of us being a community and supporting each other, and so I am working with some friends of mine who are also in this group, and we're working our way up to doing women's circles, and so eventually we'll be doing them for everyone. Eventually everyone will be welcome to join those as well. And in the meantime, I'm brainstorming ways that we can have, like, maybe coffee chats or some sort of way in which we can connect online, because it's difficult. It's difficult to find people that think like us, women that are on this path in our physical environment. Often it's difficult. And so we wind up finding our soul sisters online, and there are tools and ways in which we can start to have, relationships and healing together and having communities in which we support each other. And so that is my ultimate goal. So today we're going to talk about the principle of mentalism. The principle of mentalism is that the all, and when we say the all, we mean the creator and the creation. So the all, we're part of it, nature's part of it, animals are part of it, the energy that flows through everything is part of it. It all comes from the Creator. It is the Creator, and it comes from the Creator. Most of us call that source energy. You can call it God. We can call it the all. We can call it one, because we're all part of it. So the universe is mental. It's a mental construct, meaning that it was everything originally came from a thought in the mind of the Creator. Whatever that entity is, or that energy is, or that being is that created the reality in which we live and us and everything else, was first a thought. And this embodies the truth that the reality underlying all of the outward manifestations and appearances, in which we call the material universe, or which we call the 3D or the physical realm. In short, it's undefinable, and it's likened to an infinite living mind. So mind and spirit are truly one and the same. They're interchangeable terms in Hermetic teachings. So being aware of this first principle of mentalism can directly improve our lives in so many ways, by this understanding that before anything gets drawn into the physical world, into our reality, it's first harnessed through the creative intelligence of the energy that we know as mind. So applying our mental faculties to our creations is how we first draw them out into the physical world. Everything starts at the level of thought. And so this is, in essence, the concept that if we could control our mind, if we could understand the workings of our mind, and use it in turn with the other principles, the other natural laws, then we can effectively, literally, control what we create in the outside world. We are truly co-creators with the all. That we are mini-creators. We are made in the likeness of God, right? That doesn't mean that we look like God, that there's a man sitting up there in the clouds with, that looks like a man, and that, whatever else. It's not something that's out there. It's actually in here. It all comes from us. And so we are, and science has proven this, literally creating our experience in the world. Everything is filtered through the mind. So believe it or not, the outside world actually doesn't really exist technically, because it's all a mirror of what's going on the inside. And so this is a powerful understanding. It's a very powerful knowing. And yes, we're not going to completely understand it while we're in this human vessel. It's a difficult thing to get around. It's a difficult concept. But that's the other point. Understanding it and living it and embodying it and getting to know it on a deeper level is just going to be a journey of always understanding it more deeply. It's not something that we're going to just understand and we're going to be able to do it, and then we'll, everything will always be that way. All of these natural laws work together, right? So we can't understand this one unless we understand the others as well. So it's going to be very, very difficult to speak on one of them without bringing up the others. So our physical apparatus is in the mind. Our physical world, the world in which we live, the things that we do every day, the things we touch, our homes, everything is actually in the mind. So we create it we create our own experience. So there's not a single thing in this world that was made purely from the physical. It was in the mind first, and you can't break that rule, right? Now, how we perceive it is a completely different thing. Our perception and reality are not the same thing. So we might think that because we take a physical action and then something happens, that's how we create, by taking physical action. But that's actually not the truth. Everything starts in the mind. And so there's this idea, law of attraction teachings, people say, there's a group of people that say you don't have to take action to create. That because it's a mental construct and it's all in the mind, then we can not act and have things just come to us. Is that possible, and is that how the law of mentalism works? The answer is yes. Then there's this school of thought where we have to take action. And we have to do the mental work, but then we take action in the world, and that's a must, and that has to happen for us to be able to create things. And is that correct? Yes. So, we have to put these together. This is how we figure out truth. We walk the middle path, right? We take these opposing ideas, which are the same thing, and we reconcile them. That's another principle. But that's the way it works, right? We take paradoxes and we find that middle path, right? The truth is always somewhere in between, right? You'll hear this person's story and that person's story, and they're a little bit different. They have things in common. Those are truth. And the truth is usually somewhere in between. You'll see that in, for example, climate change. You have one side of the United States political government that believes it's a thing, and we have to do all these things about it, and that it works in a certain way, and that these are the answers, and we have to push for this and push for that, and that that their way is the right way, and it's the way to fix this issue. And then you have the other side that says this is not even an issue at all. It's not even real. It's not even something that's real. We should drill, baby, drill, and not worry about the environment. The truth is somewhere in between. The truth is smack in the middle, where it's a thing, and maybe it's caused by humans, but likely it's cyclic. And are there answers that they're taking, the actions that they're taking, the right way? Maybe not. Maybe some of that is for someone else's agenda and to make money and all these other things. But does that mean that we should just keep destroying nature? Of course not. Of course not. And so, the truth is somewhere in the middle. And if you really pay attention, you'll notice this in every aspect of your life. That two opposing ideas can be true at the same time in some way, shape, or form. And they can both be untrue at the same time in some way, shape, or form. And so this journey through understanding natural law really is a journey back to understanding the morality that is built into this universe and this reality that we live in. And that there is right and wrong action. There is right and wrong ways to be. And that we don't need to have a religious controlling system in place for us to understand morality, for us to know what's real and what's not real, for us to understand and know what's wrong and what's right. And it's my firm belief that we live in a benevolent universe, and that creator and the creation is a neutral thing, but it does the idea is to do no harm, right? The idea for sentient life is to do no harm. This does not equate to the animal kingdom. They are sentient beings, but they don't have the intelligence that we have. They don't have the ability to sit and conceptualize the idea of right and wrong and to understand natural law. Like, I'm not going to sit my dog down this afternoon and explain to him how gravity works, right? So a lot of people like to say, oh, well, the laws of nature apply to us. That is not the same thing when I talk about natural law. That is not the same thing, because the laws of nature apply to us in the 3D sense, but morally we are sentient, intelligent, spiritual beings. And so there are cosmic laws as well that apply to us. And so it's easier for me to explain it to myself in this way, for me to understand it in this way, that there's natural law and there's cosmic law. And these Hermetic principles are just the basis of all of it. So a lot of metaphysical teachings, I would say, are cosmic law. A lot of those truths that people use that is actually kind of spiritually bypassing, because a lot of people that talk about cosmic law, the people that talk about the way metaphysics works, they discount the the natural world, right? So we're trying to marry the two of them together. Like, that is our goal, right? Is to take two opposites and find the truth somewhere in between. And so understand that when you go and you take an action and something happens, it's not actually the action that caused the result. It's the mental process that aligned you with that outcome, which in turn became an internal will, an internal desire, an internal aligned action. It became something within you that caused you to take an action, which then in turn create the result. The result was actually created from the mind and not from the action. But often we have to play out those physical actions in order to see the results, because that helps us to follow through with that creation that's in the mind. We're physical beings. So our body is the barrier, it's the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. And so often it's going to take us taking action in order to create something, although it's not created from the action. The action keeps us in alignment. And this is the same as like when you use tools in your magic practice. They're there for you to focus. They're there for you to help you focus, right? And to focus your energy. And so when we do a spell and we bring in correspondences and things like that, sure, the colors, the plant life, the numbers, the crystals, all of those things have meanings that correspond with the outcome that we want to create, right, in the real world, in our physical reality, what we want to experience, what we want to make happen, right? This is the same concept as, so when we put those correspondences together and we take those actions where we light the candle, we say the incantation, we say the words, we get that essence, that feeling of what we want to create building within us, and then we release it out into the world. Those actions are actually the outward progress of an inward mental process that is actually the powerful thing here. So I know that it's a little complex, but I'm hoping that I am breaking it down in such a way that it's easy to understand. This might be something that you have to listen to a couple different people talk about. This might be something that you have to listen to over and over again, because it's very different from the way in which we normally perceive our reality. It's very different from the way in which we normally think about our reality and the way that we understand that it works. And so it might take some repetition, and it might take listening to it in different ways for us to really start to comprehend the meaning of it and how it works, and really paying attention to how things happen in our lives, how things happen in the outside world, paying attention to nature and watching how nature unfolds. All sort of helps us to understand how to conceptualize this. The truth of the matter is, though, is that we understand it the most when we can put it into action in our world. We can understand it the most. We really get it the most. There's a difference between knowing something, the theory of something, and being able to even teach it. Knowing it so well and understanding it so well that you can teach it. There's a difference between that and being able to demonstrate it in your daily life. And that's been the biggest gap for me. I've understood these things and been able to teach them for a while now. But it's only been in the last couple of years that I've actually been able to connect those things and actually demonstrate it, put it into action, and bring it into the 3D world. And so this is your magical practice, but it's also how we manifest. It's how we create our reality. And we're doing it all the time, at all times, whether or not we even know it. So we've been doing this our whole lives, and we just haven't known that this is what we're doing. And so talking through each of these principles and understanding natural law on a deeper basis, we'll do the 8 principles, the 7, and the hidden principle. But then I'm going to go into popular law of attraction. We're going to talk about the law of mentalism. We're going to talk about not mentalism, the mirror principle, which is the principle of mentalism. We'll talk about the law of assumption. We'll talk about all of these popular terms that people call laws. Now, some of them are laws and some of them aren't. But essentially, the truth is that if you take these 8 principles, the 7 and the hidden principle, and you combine them together, you'll get those 12 laws of karma. You'll understand where these other laws come from. And so, after I do the 8th principle, I'm going to go into some of these more popular terms, and we'll talk about which laws they come from, which laws put together equal this. And so, you'll understand on a deeper level where all this is coming from, what the truth of the matter is, and we'll take these opposing ideas from the outside world, concepts that we're understanding, the things that we learn, and we're going to figure out the truth of it, right? We'll figure out the moral truths and how they really work in our daily lives. Because it is my deepest desire to help you all learn and understand and be able to make this work in your daily life. This is the stuff that changes lives. And if we can all learn to understand and make this work in our lives, then we can teach others to do the same. And it could be like a chain reaction, and we can change this world for the better. This is how you change the world, by understanding how reality works, and then understanding how to, not even understanding how to, learning how that works for you, and bringing it into the 3D, right? And so when we become creators of our reality, and we can teach others to become creators of their reality, we all start to become sovereign and free, and we're harder to control. And so this is how we free ourselves from the slave system in which humanity has lived in now for quite a long time. Do you guys have any questions about mentalism and how that works? Let me see if I can. I don't see any questions. I can't tell if anybody's here or not. This is the one thing that I can't stand about Facebook Lives, is that I can never tell if anybody's here or not, or if anybody's commenting, because it's really not the best technology. They really need to upgrade their live, the way they do lives. But, okay. I'm pretty sure that I covered the principle of mentalism, and I've babbled as well. I have to go teach an Earth Magic 101 lesson now. I have a Earth Magic for Beginners mini course that's pre-recorded, and it's free. So if anyone's interested in that, just drop Earth Magic in the comments or DM me and ask me, and I'll send you the link to that if you'd like to watch those videos. It's 4 videos. And I'm going to go now and teach an Earth Magic 101 lesson that goes with one of my courses. I've been going back and forth trying to decide what to call it. So it's in the Awaken Her Magic membership, right? That has not started yet. So I'm turning it into a membership. But essentially the course is the fundamentals of Earth Magic, and it teaches how to make potions, it teaches how to make talismans, it teaches a bunch of different ways in which you can use Earth Magic in your daily life, down to like making your own hand soaps and stuff like that. But it also teaches the entire understanding of energetic manifestation, which is the fundamental background that we need to have in order to make a magical practice work, in order to make a manifestation practice work. And so that's super helpful, because we do healing, we let go of beliefs about ourselves, we really get down to understanding our core beliefs, our core values, and how to reprogram our subconscious mind, and how to understand patterns, and so that we can stop repeating patterns in our life and stuff like that. So it's extremely valuable, and I'm using it in my one-on-one coaching as well. So if you're interested in that and you'd like to set up a conversation where we could just talk about it and how that might look, feel free to just drop conversation in the comments below, and I'll reach out to you and we can meet up and have a chat and see if this would even be beneficial for you, and, you know, let you know what kind of options there might be and what that might look like. I hope you're all having a wonderful Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you all either tomorrow or on Tuesday. One of those 2 days I'm going to do a live reading in here, and we're because tomorrow is the first quarter moon. I try to do a live reading on the 4 quarters for the moon phases. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.